So our last lesson for this section is to do the cosine law. Now, when you look at the relationships of how the cosine law works, they look quite complicated, but when you break it down, it's actually not too bad. So what I do is I give you a triangle, and I'm just going to label the triangle ABC. Now, when you're drawing the triangles, it actually doesn't matter to label them very carefully, as long as you kind of watch the pairings. So, suppose I was looking for angle B. I'm going to highlight angle B and its opposite side. In order for you to use the cosine law, you need to be given one of the two blue numbers. Okay, so if I want to use the cosine law to find lowercase b, then I need to be given uppercase b. If I want to use the cosine law to find lowercase b, I need to be given uppercase b. In addition, you have to be given the other two sides. So I'm going to highlight these in yellow. These labels don't actually matter, but here I already labeled A, so the side opposite is little a. This is already labeled C, so the side opposite is labeled little c. So when you're doing it, you have to be given the two sides, and you have to be given one diagonal pair, one out of the two pieces of information. So let me explain how this works again. So we're going to draw this triangle. I'm going to label wherever I want B, and they give me an angle of 67 degrees. They ask me to find a lowercase b, and then they give me that A and C are 12 and 34. So if I put A here, directly across from it is 12. If I put C here, directly across from it is 34. So in order to use the cosine law, you can notice I'm interested in solving for B, so I have to be given the angle opposite to it, and I have to be given the other two sides, which I have been. So let's go and see how the formula actually works. So these formulas are used if you want to find sides, and these formulas are used if you want to find angles. Now there's so many formulas here, you only need to know one of them. So whatever pair you've highlighted, that goes in the position of those two spots. So if I was looking for one of the angles and the opposite side was given to me, I highlight that pair. So this is a pair, this is a pair. Now in my triangle, the B pair is what I want to find, so I'm going to use the B formula here. So B squared is equal to A squared plus C squared minus 2AC cosine capital B. You have to make sure that this and this are related through opposites. And you have to be given the other two sides, which we highlighted in yellow. So we just go ahead and sub all our values in now. B squared is equal to any order you want for the other two numbers. So I'm going to go 12 squared plus 34 squared minus 2 times 12 times 34 cosine of 67. And then when I work this out in my calculator, I'm going to put it in one big string. So I'm going to write 12 squared plus 34 squared minus 2 bracket 12 bracket 34 cosine of 67, end my bracket, and I get 981.1633992. This is the square of the number. I want to get rid of the 2, so I'm going to square root both sides. So the square root of that number is going to be my answer for B. So that gives me that B is 31.32352788, and you would round based on what the question wants you to round. We're going to kind of follow what we've been following, that the sides are rounded to one decimal place and the angles are rounded to the nearest degree. So therefore this works out to 31.3 for that side B. Now I'm going to draw another triangle for this question. Just draw a random non-90 degree triangle. Angle A is what I'm looking for, so I better be given the opposite side. So in my formula, this is my A and my opposite side, so I need to make sure I'm using the A formula because that's the one that my pairing is with. And my other two sides have to be 34. So if I put the 34 here, that means that this is angle C. And if I put the B here, then this means that this side is 31.3235. So let's go ahead and use the formula. So A squared is equal to B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cosine capital A. You have to remember that this is the pairing I'm looking for. So that has to be in the proper position. Now this time I'm looking for an angle. So instead of using the formula that relates to the side, although you can and rearrange it, we want to use the A formula that allows us to solve for the angle. So cos of capital A is B squared plus C squared minus A squared over 2BC. So again, in here, this has to be my pairing. So the capital A and the lowercase a have to sit in the right position. So cosine capital A equals my other two sides. That will be normally highlighted in yellow. And I'm going to come highlight that in yellow in a moment. Minus 2 times 34, 31.3235. Oh, whoops, I'm writing the formula wrong. Minus my A value squared, which is 12 squared, all divided by 2 times 34 times 31.3235. So again, this pairing has to sit in the correct position, otherwise your answer is going to be incorrect. So I'm going to come back and highlight those other two yellow like I said I was going to do. Those are my other two sides. So cosine of A is equal to, now you can use the alpha key, the y equals key, and the number 1, and that might put a fraction in there for you. If it doesn't put a fraction in there for you, work out the top number on your calculator, hit enter, and then work out the, and then divide your answer by the bottom number. Otherwise, you're going to get the incorrect answer if your brackets are incorrect. So when I put this into my calculator, I get that cosine A is 0.93575752229. So A is equal to cosine inverse of that number. Five seven five seven 5229. So cos inverse of that answer is 20.64912537 degrees. And because this is an angle, I'm going to round to the nearest degree, which is 21 degrees. So again, the key ideas are that if you're solving for a side, you're going to use one of these formulas. And if you're solving for an angle, you're going to use one of these formulas. But in order to create the formula, it doesn't matter what letters you use as long as this letter and this letter pair up together. And one of those two letters would be what you're looking for. So if I'm looking for a side, I would use the left-hand side formulas. If I was looking for an angle, I would use the right-hand side formulas. Okay, let's try this one. Okay, I have a triangle ABC. Now I'm going to purposely try not to label my triangle for you. Well, we probably should, but even if you don't label it, as long as your numbers go in the correct spot when you're placing them, that's all that matters. So if this is capital B, there's the angle. I'm going to suppose that that is A, so this side would be 468.2. I'm going to put that this side is 692.6, and I'm going to call this capital C. And they want us to solve for lowercase b and angle A. So what am I going to do first is I'm going to set up the pairing that I'm interested in. So I'm interested in finding B. So there's my angle. And there's my two sides. So again, I'm going to use my B formula. B squared is equal to, and then this part has to be cosine B. And then you just use the other two letters when you're filling in the formula. A squared plus c squared minus 2ac cosine b. So b squared equals 468.2 squared plus 692.6 squared minus 2 times 468.2 times 692.6 cosine of b, which is 78.6. You carefully type that into your calculator. So 468.2 squared plus 692.6 squared minus 2 times those two values. Make sure you put brackets around those. 692.6 cosine 78.6. It gives me a really large number, which it probably should because, again, this is the square of the number. I want to isolate for b, so I'm going to square root both sides. So my answer is going to be the square root of this value, 570,715.2054. So therefore b equals the square root of that value, which is 755.4569514. I'm going to round that to 1 degree, which is 755.5. And that would be in meters, centimeters, or whatever those units were. Now, if I want to solve for a angle, let's put all of my information in again on another triangle, because now our formula is probably going to change slightly. 468.2, 692.6, 78.6, B, and C. So now I'm interested in finding angle A, so I'm going to label that one as my highlighted value, and I have the side opposite to it. I highlight the other two sides in yellow, and now I'm going to use the cosine formula for an angle. So cosine of capital A equals, and there's a whole bunch of stuff in the formula, but you want to make sure you're subtracting the 468.2 squared. That's the key of the formula. The stuff in yellow can go in any order we want. 0.5, so those other two sides get squared and added up, and then the bottom gets kind of multiplied by 2 with those two sides. So now I'm going to isolate for cosine A. Again, if your calculator has that alpha y1 trick to it, you're going to put that in to help you with the fraction so that you don't have to be as nitty-gritty with the brackets. 692.6, 755.5. You carefully type that in, you get 0.7943134217. Now you got to be careful because this is a rounded value. So depending on which area you stop rounding, your answer may be slightly off. To do this, we have to do the cosine inverse because we want to get rid of that cosine word, which is a function. And then A is equal to 37.40954539 degrees, and rounded to the nearest whole number is 37 degrees. So that's sort of how the cosine law works. And then please go ahead and complete